Hey guys, what's good? We back. We back in this. Today we're going to be talking about colorism. So to dive into this topic, I did a little bit of research. Well, really not research. I just Googled the definition of colorism because I wanted to see what they define colorism as. And they defined it as prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. I found that so interesting because it's crazy that colorism is only defined by being dark skinned. Like, people that are not of darker skin tones cannot experience colorism. And in the Black community, you know, we always kind of point the finger at light-skinned people like, oh, you're doing the woe is me, like I'm light-skinned and people hate on me because I'm light. But to a certain extent, you all have to understand that they're experiencing colorism as well. If you're going to point the finger at them and you're going to say they're a certain kind of way, you know, if you light-skinned, you don't text back, you bougie, you think you too good and all that stuff, I feel like personally that is a form of colorism. Now, while dark-skinned women, they are treated differently. They are treated, I think it might be more of an extensive version of colorism, but correction, I think that it is just more of a deeply rooted issue because of the fact that it is more spoken out against due to the history. It is wrong to point the finger at light-skinned women and say, you know, that they are a certain way, because that is a form of colorism. I also wanted to add in, after asking the question on my Instagram about how light-skinned people are treated unfairly with colorism, a lot of them have the same issues. Like, they are feeling as though they're not necessarily Black enough. They are feeling like, you know, they're in this in-between phase because they are Black, but at the same time, they're not necessarily the mixed look that people expect out of light-skinned people. And that is very well colorism. I'm going to just share with you real quick my experience of colorism. I have a couple things, like, just in terms of standards of beauty, that has made me grow up and believe that I wasn't beautiful for a very long time. So starting off when I was really little, like, I've always been skinny, and then I was this dark-skinned girl. I have on a little makeup so you can't see it, but I've always had like some little dark rings under my eyes. So I was always really insecure, and even my family would just make comments about me not being outside for too long, or I'll be like a burnt chocolate chip and things like that. And so it was like I was always aware of my color. Like, I was always thinking of, okay, don't get too dark, and just little things like that. Like, you know, as they were saying that jokingly, they didn't realize in the back of my mind how it made me feel like dark was equated with being ugly. Dark was bad. Like, dark is not a good thing. So I always grew up like, dang, like, I wish that I could be lighter. Like, I remember as a kid, like, scrubbing my skin extra hard, trying to be a lighter skin tone than what I was. And thinking about it today, it's crazy, but it's just the ideals that are placed at us as young children. And then also on top of that, with our grandparents coming from the background where they came from, where even more so then that darkness was not accepted, like, it was not necessarily a beautiful thing. You know, they make little comments and they don't realize how those things can affect us and how it low-key affected them as well. I think all the way up until even when I was in grammar school, y'all, people would make comments about my size and about my skin tone, saying like, "Ooh, Kayla, you would be really bad if you was light-skinned and if you had a big butt."
Bruh.
Like, bro, like, what? Like, is this supposed to be a compliment? I'm just confused. And it's just like a lot of little comments. Like, I've gotten the pretty for a dark-skinned girl thing 1,000,001 times that we all talk about, that we all hate. It's just ridiculous. Like, that's kind of saying like you're pretty for the condition that you are in. Like, why can I not just be pretty for just who I am? So I think all the way up until I got into high school, even sometime in high school, I was very insecure about myself because of my skin tone. I would always try not to be out in the sun for too long. Like if it's hot outside, even today a little bit, like, cause it's just been instilled in me for so long. I'm just like, oh, too hot, can't get too black. Like, you know, especially if you don't tan very nicely, then you kind of feel like, oh, like it's not cute. Because the thing that we have to realize is just because we want to fake have Twitter conversations about this kind of stuff every once in a while, that's not making the issue go away. You all are not continuing to speak up about this topic. The media is still not shining light on dark-skinned women as a positive thing. So still in dark-skinned girls' minds and even dark-skinned boys, but y'all really don't want to go there.
Wow, sis, you're really teed.
Because y'all just started liking dark-skinned men. Y'all just started. This is what I think. Like, it's Black History Month. Let's keep it real. We need to start celebrating all shades. Like, y'all are literally, all these black people, all of us black people, we are so mad at white people for putting us through slavery and for what they did to our ancestors. But what y'all don't realize is y'all are continuing on the trend by continuing colorism. Colorism was created and designed by white people to separate us and make us believe that some of us were better than others. The light-skinned people were in the house and the dark-skinned people were in the field picking cotton. And by you dividing dark skin, I'm going to speak specifically about women, dark skinned women, and saying, oh, team light skin, oh, red bone and she fine and she thick and all this stuff, like, you're continuing and contributing to the problem. Like, all colors should be celebrated. All colors should be celebrated. There's no color that is less than another color. We as a black community, we have to stand up and face this thing within ourselves before we can expect anybody else to accept us for who we are. Because people of other races, specifically white people, are standing on the outside looking in and they're laughing because we're doing the same thing to ourselves that was being done to us. For me to get my confidence up, it was really the modeling, just doing the runway shows. Like, it just made me feel good about who I was, and then having people gas me when I was doing it makes you feel even better, because it's like, wow, like, I'm really good at something. Like, other people are realizing that I'm a sort of beautiful from doing this. Like, you know, modeling normally equates with beauty, and so when you're up there and you're doing something that other people are cheering you on for, and they're just like, wow, you're so beautiful, like, you're so this, you're so that, like, you finally feel seen, like, seen for who you are and not beautiful with a condition, like, beautiful for you. I just want us to challenge ourselves in this 2019 year of life. I think that we need to be more intentional with what we are saying, be more intentional to the things that we are supporting, to the jokes that we are making, because jokes are, you know, just the truth with a little bit of a LOL. It's how you feel with the LOL. So I think that we have to stop dividing ourselves as a black community based off of the color of our skin. We are all black regardless. Like, if we walk up in a place, even if white people do feel more comfortable around the light-skinned person, the light-skinned person is still black. And this is just me speaking from the outside looking in, because some light-skinned people might feel like, you know, white people will still be acting some type of way to them. So I can't really like expand on that. I could just speak about from my experience as being a dark-skinned woman, what I see and what I feel like needs to be done about it. Another thing that made me really think about this topic was Blackish actually just came out with a recent episode about colorism, and in the show, Diane is the only dark skin. Well, no, she's not the only dark skin, but she's the only dark skin in that like tiny immediate family outside of the grandmother. All the rest of them are fair to medium skin complexions, and they kind of address, you know, colorism, how Diane has swept it under the rug because she didn't really want to address it. She didn't want to feel like she was throwing a pity party for herself. And I think that that's what a lot of dark-skinned women do. You know, we sit and we deal with these things, we grow a tough skin about it, and then on the inside we're kind of questioning all these things in our mind, like, man, why do I have to be pretty for a dark-skinned girl? Why can't I just be beautiful for who I am? And why is it that just basic things, like, I know for me being a dark-skinned woman, I will never wear anything with like that kind of mesh material, because the mesh material is made for fair skinned people. Like, it's not a dark mesh, it's a light mesh. And it's just things like that you would never really think about unless you're in this dark skin, because you don't have those type of issues. Like, you're just thinking like, oh, this is cute. But for me, if I see something that has like a light mesh on it, I'm like, well, that defeats the whole purpose, because it's not going to blend in with my skin tone. It's gonna stand out. It's gonna make me think about, wow, like I'm darker than the normal standard of beauty. So thank you guys for watching this video on colorism. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. See you all next time.